There's everybody.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Ooh, we go in some deep places, I guess, in this one. And I believe that it's going to be best to be completely open and be in the truth and make sure that what's being said can be felt instead of thought about.
Right.
You know what I mean? You wanted to do this for a while, so this has been something that has been a video that we hope really, a series of videos that really helps you go inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess today we're talking about cheating. Where do we even begin?
Oh boy. I guess we begin at the beginning.
When I go back, because I have to step into a time machine here and go back to what was the feeling on the inside that gave me permission to cheat. It wasn't really that I even understood that it was permission to cheat as much as it was I was chasing a feeling that would fix my self-worth, that would fix my experience of actually experiencing love, because I felt like love was something I wasn't allowed to have, but I could have it in small pieces.
Okay.
And I needed to create what those pieces felt like. I needed to create what that space on the inside of me really was truly after. And I didn't understand that it was a bottomless pit, right? And that bottomless pit really does affect you. And understand that it's not that you are hurting anybody, it's that you're hurting yourself. You'll cheat yourself out of somebody loving you. You'll cheat yourself out of somebody really seeing the authentic you, the real you, because you're telling yourself that nobody would love or accept you. And coming from the brokenness of it and looking at it now and looking at the thought processes I had, I was searching for how I couldn't hold it before I was searching for how I could. I was expected to be left. I was expected to be broke up with. I was expected to not. And it was more so, I would say that it was sexual in nature, but it wasn't. It was more somebody touching me, somebody with me. And it would lead to that because, of course, that's the universal way of actually experiencing somebody being close to you. But I had no concept of what that really meant. I didn't know what it meant to my body. I didn't know what it meant to me as a human being. I didn't know what it meant to me as a man. I didn't feel much like a man, so that was my proof to be a man. And that proof came from my belief system when it came to my father. And him, the absence and the presence of him in my life. And seeing him, and he was a looker. I mean, he was a ladies' man. I mean,
he still is pretty cute. Your dad's
stop
handsome.
flirting. Stop flirting. He's
Just
watching.
handsome.
He's watching. Stop it. So there's a space in there where you go.
He is handsome.
There's a space in there though where I was watching how he interacted and could see God, and then he never looked at me and said, this is why this is. He kind of passed down to me what he had in him, but not necessarily intentionally.
Okay.
Because we observe a lot of things that our parents do, and we mimic them without knowing we're mimicking. So if I didn't have his love, I wanted what took him away from me. Okay. And my belief system was that he found somebody outside of somebody he was married to.
Okay.
So that showed me that infidelity, or just the fact of cheating, was just a way of life.
What was your behavior?
I knew how to be focused in what I wanted and what I knew that would make me stay in that moment. But I didn't realize that I was just chasing a moment and not chasing what the person I was with in that moment. Does that make sense? So it was almost like what I was actually chasing was the experience and the feeling of what the experience would give me, and it would be like a high, and then it would die. It would just be, and then it was like, I gotta find it again, and I couldn't find it with the same person.
How old were you when you started cheating on partners?
When I was 12, it just seemed to be that there was a space now where my father was gone, my mother was always working, so I wasn't getting attention from female. I wasn't getting motherly love, and I wasn't getting the same smothering energy I used to get because my mother had to give us more love because of the absence of my father. Right. And once that got taken away because she was working 10 to 12 hours a day, I was looking for it.
Okay.
And I noticed that people who came in, girls who would, in particular, who would talk to me, I was like, ooh, there's that, I can find that affection, I can find that feeling, I can find that space. And then I wasn't with that one, another person would come out. And I didn't realize I was looking for it in that way because you're young. You don't think that there's anything wrong with that because, of course, then at that point, 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, you don't know what commitment is. You don't even understand it.
Right. That was my next comment, that you weren't in committed relationships at this point. This was just a teenager exploring and being with several girls.
Yeah.
And then you started to get older and grow up, and now you're in your young adulthood, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, but there was so much that happened between 12 to 18.
Okay.
That when I go back and I look at it and I look at the events the way they occurred, my mother raised three of us. So there was me, my brother, and my sister. My sister was the youngest, my brother was the oldest, and here I was the middle child. And that absence, my brother was the older, but he would take care of my sister, which kind of left me out there.
Gotcha.
So mom was at work, Mo was watching, my brother was watching my sister, and it was kind of like I was in the space in between, and I started to get out of control because I didn't have any supervision. I didn't have really any discipline. And then I would have questions, but I couldn't figure them out. So I started trying to figure out things on my own, which when you're free, you start to kind of break rules that you didn't know were rules because who's really watching you? Who's really holding you accountable to it?
Okay.
So living with my mom, I learned how to break the rules of living with a woman you love.
Ah, okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And her still loving me anyway.
Right.
And her not really knowing what I'm doing, but knowing I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be. So the part of me that has to live with myself that tells me I'm being who I'm not supposed to be, and that's where I think most, and I would say a majority of men don't know how to speak from that space, because even though we want to be the best we can possibly be for the woman we love, we have a side of us that we tell ourselves, I don't love this part of me, so I can't let her love that part of me either. And that's why it stays hidden.
Okay.
Because it's going to be exposed. So what happened between 12 and 18 is I was so out of control. My mother, me and her got into this big, huge thing when I was very, very young. And, 14 years old, I get sent to live with my father. I didn't get sent. I asked.
Okay.
Not knowing what I had asked for.
Right.
Not knowing that I would be without my
In the heat of the
freedoms.
moment.
In the heat of the moment.
Yeah. Fighting with your mom. I'm going to go live with my dad.
Maybe I should go live with my dad. Well, in the phone, next thing you know, 2 days later, I'm on a plane leaving. And when this happened, to me, I thought, okay, I'm going to be gone for a weekend. I'll come back. Things will be okay. Not knowing that I was going to be gone for the next 2.5 years.
Okay.
So I
You were how old at this point?
14.
Okay.
So I had already cheated myself out of it. And I was skin and bone. I did not eat. I did not take care of myself, but I was just out there. I was just full of energy. At this point, up until this point, I had been on Ritalin because I was, red dye number 3. I
Yeah.
don't know if anybody, but I was what would have been considered ADD or ADHD at that time.
Okay.
I was always all over the place. I didn't like to learn by sitting still. I liked to learn by doing things.
Okay.
So I get sent to live with him. And, I arrived there in a different space. I've never been outside of, a home where there was my brother and my sister and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to live with my father. And I get there and never hearing from him on certain days and certain times and never really telling him about
Were your
this.
parents still married at this point?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But
he was
he
saying,
had left and moved into another city or state?
Yeah, well, he had traveled a lot. The way he said it, I traveled a lot, but never understood that they were actually separated.
Okay.
Or actually not even, because when he would come home, he was with her.
Okay.
Get it?
Yeah.
So, and I knew this. So I'm thinking he's just out there really working to support and everything else, but why did mom have to get a job if he was doing that? So I didn't understand that there were so many other variables that were happening behind it. So to me, they didn't sit down and talk to me.
Gotcha.
They cheated me out of knowing the truth.
Okay.
And I knew how to cheat and try to keep finding what I was missing that had been missing for me at a very young age. But I get off, I get there.
But you're only 14 at this point, so there's no cheating, really. I mean, on relationships or other people.
Well, at this point, I'd lost my virginity. I'd had my first
At 12.
couple of girlfriends. Absolutely. And I didn't understand everything that I was doing.
Right.
I just knew that I was looking for these things. And I get off, and come to be with my father. And he's not really saying much to me on the way there. He's kind of like, your mom's going to get over this and, that kind of stuff. And we get to where he lives. And there's a woman and another child there.
Oh, his child?
No.
Okay.
So to me, I'm going,
I'm asking these questions for you.
yeah. And I'm going,
I know the
well,
answer.
wait a minute. So now my view is dad's been living this entirely different life. And now what I've been doing seems to be exactly what you're supposed to do in life. And it was always looking for and having multiple. Because, like I said, my dad, we saw him a year before. He came in and was sleeping in the same room with mom, was still with mom, was acting like everything was fine. But then on the other side of it, he's over here.
So
now,
my question is, did your mother know
No.
that he had another family?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. And I had to swallow that.
Okay.
Because I knew that my mom had seen somebody.
Okay.
And I told my dad that, but I didn't tell my mom.
Okay.
So it was almost like I learned the unspoken rule of not telling
Right.
female or feminine energy that.
Right.
And I didn't know that that was cheating me on the inside, because I knew that it would break my mother's heart. And it broke my heart that I didn't tell her. It
Mm-hmm.
broke my heart that I didn't expose it. It put me in the state of constantly cheating myself out of what the truth would give me.
Okay.
So, of course, that relationship, I think, with them lasted about 2 years
Okay.
during the time I was with them. And then it was almost within 6 months of that relationship ending, my father met his current wife.
Okay.
So
And they've been married for?
they've been married since, I guess that would have been 88.
Okay.
So
quite a while.
yeah, so it's been quite a long time. So, but he found somebody, he found one he was connected to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I watched that, but I still didn't understand what it was I watched. Because adults, a very strange thing happens to us when we grow up. It seems to be that you have parents that will look and say the kids don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids now have to interpret everything they see.
Right.
So for me, I had to interpret why dad was over here, mom was over here, while this woman that he was with is here, and this child that he's raising is here, and while mom is doing this and she's seeing this person, but she's working out to death, and there's 2 other children or 3 other children in the home who don't have any adult or don't understand how adults operate between each other.
Gotcha.
So my explanation of it is I viewed it and went, nobody is faithful to anybody.
Right.
But what I want is this feeling of belonging. I wanted to feel that. So the cheating came from wanting to feel that. I wanted to feel the love that I lost from my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and what I witnessed early on when mom and dad were together.
Okay.
and I saw some very beautiful things, and I would dream about it, and I would write about it, and it was like I just wanted to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand the brokenness because I knew that I was hurt, but I didn't know how to explain where I was hurting from.
Right.
And when you cheat or when you have an addiction, there's a repetitive thought process that's going in the background. And it's very hard to find that if you don't go, because this is an answer inside of you. Nobody outside of you can ask you the right question to get in there unless you go in there and do it yourself.
Right.
Which I think is what ultimately both you and I both realized. Right. The connection to these elements was broken, and there was infidelity, and there was cheating, and then there was silence inside of it.
Okay.
So I knew how to turn off one face and turn on another because I watched them both do it. The switch was inherited.
Gotcha.
It wasn't something I created. And most people, I think, believe that they have a switch, but this was a switch they inherited, not a switch that they actually made themselves. They make it themselves and actually make it more permanent, or give it more permission by things they say on the inside.
Gotcha. So let's fast forward to your first committed relationship, or
Absolutely.
supposed to be committed relationship.
Okay.
And how old you were?
Well, let's go after 18 because I might have had committed, but again, it's kind of a blur.
Kind of as a teenager, we're going together, we're going steady type
yeah,
of thing.
Yeah, but that was in different states because I knew how to be in one state with one and I knew how to be in another state with another.
Okay. While you were a teenager even.
Because I still got to go home and visit. So
Okay.
I had a girlfriend at home and I had a girlfriend where I lived.
Gotcha. Rico.
Just like daddy.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I didn't see that there was anything wrong with that. Because there was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's what I saw and how I was in the middle of it. And I just thought, but you have those points where you're like, why doesn't he ever tell me he's proud of me? Why doesn't he ever tell me? You know what I'm saying? You do those things, but on the inside, you're doing exactly what they do.
Okay.
So what ended up happening for me was I came home to stay. I came to live with mom again. And I was back with, I was getting ready to turn 18.
Okay.
But then when I turned 19, I was hanging around people that were like me.
Okay.
Which you could say their father was gone all the time.
Okay.
And we got along great because when you meet other males that didn't have that part,
mm-hmm.
you almost find a common ground because you know that on the inside you're telling yourself certain things. Now I had a piece of my father and they had a piece of their father, and you could tell that there's a space in between where we got so much love from our mother and so much acceptance from them because of that absence.
Mm-hmm.
We would seek that out, and if we didn't find it, we found a woman that we would disappoint, it automatically permission to go find somebody else, even if we were in something committed. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
So
you found your bro pack.
You find those that validate your frequency.
Okay.
So
like-minded individuals.
Yes, okay. And the thing about that is not only does it work with the buddies you find women who will mimic that too. Okay. You'll find women who won't pay attention to that. They just want to spend time with you. They'll be who you want them to be.
Uh-huh.
Because there's something on the inside of them that says, Daddy left me, you can leave me too.
Gotcha.
So they pretty much are open to it. And it's not anybody's fault. You can't see it because nobody talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's kind of pause that for a minute. So what ended up happening is that me and a buddy went out, mm-hmm. and I lied about who I was. I told somebody a completely false name, told somebody who I was, and of course, I knew that was a ticking time bomb because mm-hmm. I started to really feel things for this person, and I didn't realize that I was feeling so much for them because they didn't know the truth. They just knew who I wanted to be. Uh-huh. Not necessarily who I really was, but I was allowed to be more myself when they didn't know who I really was. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
doing that, when you end up going that way and experiencing where you're allowed to be yourself because you're not really using your real name. You're not really using. It's cheating on yourself because you don't even see the self-abandonment in it, and in that self-abandonment of it is cheating.
Mm-hmm. And you were 18?
19.
19? And
19.
She was?
27.
Oh.
But she thought I was 24.
Okay.
And she didn't know my name. So anyway, long story short, when it came down to it, and it did explode on me. And then I saw the hurt.
Right.
And I didn't see the hurt in her as much as I saw the hurt in me. And I didn't know what it was that I was experiencing.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, I cheated there too. Actually, I was not cheating at first. It gradually happened because I started realizing she didn't trust me. So it made me really feel.
I can imagine.
Well, listen to this part.
I get it.
Because then when you don't trust somebody, you start withholding your love.
Yes.
So all the love I was getting, when I finally told the truth, she gave it all to me. But then over a period of time, I think her hurt was sneaking up. And, she started kind of talking about it more. And then I started feeling guilty and responsible. Then I started hiding. Because that's what usually causes cheating, is you start hiding from your own hurt. And then you start stuffing your own hurt. Then you start not talking about it. Then you stuff it down. And now you've cheated on yourself, which gives you plenty of permission to go cheat on everybody else.
But you were finding the opportunities to go have affairs or go see other people while you were committed to her? Well,
what ended up happening is we would go out and she would flirt. And I would see the energy of what I witnessed my mom could do to my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And it triggered it. So now I didn't trust. Even though I was trying to work to get the trust back.
Okay.
And was trying to talk about, I didn't know where to talk from. So then I started noticing, okay, this is, I'm going to go over here. And I did. And I started hanging out with my friends again. And that's when, it started getting back into that groove of, then, we're back in the same cycle again.
Mm-hmm.
And in that cycle, you don't see the permission is not so much that you're hurting somebody. The permission is you don't want to hurt anymore. So you want to kind of find something to kind of cover up that hurt or find somebody to help you cover up that hurt. And I think I cheated like 6 or 7 times, 6 or 7 different people. And then I said, and then it came down to it and I caught her. It was a really strange sensation to me because I'm out there doing what I'm doing and knew that I'd done it, right? And at this point I had met my son's mom. Mm-hmm. And in this whole mess that I was already in, and didn't understand what I was doing in here. And what ended up happening is one night I remember it distinctly. I just had this yucky feeling, and I was like, ooh. Now she couldn't catch me doing what I was doing because I knew how to be silent in it because I watched.
Right.
So she couldn't catch. She tried, but she never could. But I felt it.
Right.
And I felt it because it felt like the same feeling I had when I caught my mother doing it. And I was like, what the hell is this feeling? And so I ended up going over there and catching her on a date and completely naked with the person on the bed. So from this point on, that's it. My cheating is now on full force. No sticking to one person and sticking. There was no way. Because there was this pain that I felt. And it was interesting because I didn't go in there and get mad or get angry or say any mean things. It just said, this is over. And it was really quite surreal because this guy's hiding behind a refrigerator, right? Trying to, he jumps out. I'm like, she's yours, and I felt there was a sensation I had in my heart. And this is, I think, what created my cheating. It hurt so bad, I got addicted to the fear of what it caused.
Gotcha. We will we'll continue this in part 2. We're making this into a series, actually.
I want to add one thing to just this first part.
Uh-huh.
Cheating isn't something you do to other people. Cheating is what you do to yourself. Mm-hmm. And you don't even know that you limit the opportunities for somebody to love the real you. That's how you're cheating in the first place.
In this series, we're going to talk about Lee's journey into and out of cheating
And yours.
and mine. And we're going to talk about why men cheat, what they're looking for, why women cheat.
It goes deeper. Yeah. I didn't talk about the sexual side.
What they're looking for. We're going to talk about do men always cheat? Will men always cheat? Will women always cheat? We're going to talk about how both of us stopped the behavior, broke the cycle. It can be done. We're sitting here. We're living proof.
Absolutely.
And we are running a series. We'll also have programs if you're in a cycle of cheating or you are affected by someone who's cheating on you.
And I think we definitely are going to get to the depth to point you in the right direction to what you're saying that causes you to do the cheating.
We do have programs.
That needs to be, the programs that we do individually because no one is exactly the same. But there is a way to find out exactly what you're saying on the inside. And it doesn't have to be uniformed. It doesn't have to be a certain way that you have to get there. Everybody's going to follow these 5 steps. No, it's not like that. In the moment you make it that way, you pretty much make everyone obsolete.
If you're tired of cheating or tired of being cheated on, we have Fix My Cheating program. Contact us for a free 30-minute session to discuss your situation and we can help you. But stay tuned for video number 2 on the Memoirs of a Cheater. And we will be back.